This was me 3 years ago after I ran my first ever marathon. It was unbelievably hard, and I honestly had no idea what I was getting myself into. I remember being like, all right, I'm checking that off my bucket list. I'm never doing that again. But I've actually done 4 more marathons since then, and I've gotten a lot faster. So let's recap my whole marathon journey, so far at least. May of 2022, I started training for my first ever marathon. Like I said, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I made my own schedule. I trained really hard. I stayed consistent. My only goal was just to complete the marathon. After 3 months of training, my race was in August. It was this tiny little marathon in Camarillo, California. It got to about 80 degrees and it was just a bunch of down and backs on a bike path. But I still managed to run a 3-hour and 20-minute marathon. 9 months later, I decided to set the crazy and lofty goal to run a sub 3-hour marathon in my second marathon ever. At this point, I got a coach, I did more speed workouts, I ran more miles weekly, and I worked on my nutrition. 5 months later, in the 2023 Chicago Marathon, I ran a 2:58 marathon. This was only my second marathon ever. It gave me so much confidence. Then a few months later, after I graduated college, I decided to try to raise the bar and run a 2:50 marathon. I trained much harder and got much faster. After a huge training block, I ran the 2024 Eugene Marathon. Although I ran a huge 6-minute PR, a 2:52, I felt like I had failed and I kind of burned out of running. Over the next few months, I didn't train for anything specific, just ran to enjoy it. I kind of last minute decided to run the 2024 Chicago Marathon just for fun, and I ended up running a 3:02. A couple months later, I decided to go back after the 2:50 marathon. I had the best training block I've ever had, and I got the fastest I've ever been. I even ran a huge half marathon PR of 1:19. Unfortunately, right before I was going to run the Mesa Marathon, I got the flu and just couldn't recover in time. Again, I was feeling burned out with running after that huge block that ended up going to nothing. But I just kind of tried to maintain as much fitness as possible because I qualified for the 2025 Boston Marathon and the Eugene Marathon. I ran that one for fun as well and ran a 3:07.